We got some breaking news in the deal to purchase Warner Brothers Discovery because after all the bidding has been done, it's looking like Netflix finally won out. Now, this is kind of surprising because a lot of people were thinking Paramount or maybe even Comcast was going to win out. Netflix was one of those companies that was in the discussion, but then we got word that they dropped out of it. Then they kind of came back into it. I mean, it's been like wishy-washy for the longest time, but big thing now is it's finally over and Netflix finally won out. But what is this going to mean for the greater ramifications of the entertainment industry? Because there are some people out there who are excited about this news. Other people, like theater chain owners, are a little bit concerned. But before we really look at this, if you're new to the channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button. And if you can, leave a comment, tell me what you think about this, and also hit the like button because it helps me out. It's official. Netflix to acquire Warner Brothers in a deal valued at $82.7 billion. That's just a massive amount of money, $82.7 billion for a company. But Warner Brothers is a huge company within the entertainment industry, so I guess it kind of makes sense. But then at the same time, if you're valued at that much, why are you selling the company off? But I don't know. I mean, I don't know what's going on behind the scenes there. This just is like a huge amount of money to try to wrap your head around. The streaming giant's proposal includes a $5.8 billion breakup fee and promises to maintain Warner Brothers' current operations, including theatrical releases. Theater owners are already speaking out. Now, maintaining theatrical releases, what do they mean by that? Because in this article, they don't really clarify. I mean, it could just be like, yeah, we're going to release movies and theatrically like Warner Brothers used to do, but let's be honest, Netflix as a company has been streaming. I mean, that's really where their bread and butter. I mean, they have occasionally released movies theatrically, but even then you kind of have to twist their arm in order to do that. And even then they're usually limited releases. So is that what they're talking about? Saying like, yeah, we're going to maintain theatrical releases. They're going to be limited releases, but they're still released theatrically. I mean, we don't necessarily know what they're planning on doing, and even if they're going to have like regular theatrical release schedules like they've done now, if that's going to be maintained for a period of time or if it's just how they're going to be doing it for good, we just don't know right now, and we don't have those details at this time. Netflix, run by co-CEOs Ted Sarandos and Greg Peters, has agreed to buy Warner Brothers in a mega deal valued at $82.7 billion under an effort nicknamed Project Noble. The streaming giant's leadership secured $59 billion in financing from a consortium of banks to assemble the deal. Netflix says the buy would give users more choice and let it optimize its plans. It will also expand its studio operation while creating better value for talent and shareholders with $2 billion to $3 billion in annual cost savings. So basically, combining the resources between their respective studios will actually save money in the long run versus if both those studios were operating exactly how they are right now, which to me kind of makes sense because both of them have studios and other like just stuff on the business side of things. Like, I don't know, like they're different executive departments or whatever. They don't necessarily need redundancies in those areas. This isn't talking about like the creative teams behind projects. This is talking about like a lot of the stuff behind the scenes. You could, I mean, like, first of all, I mean, if you have two companies, you have two HR departments. You don't need two HR departments, so you can get rid of one of them. That's kind of what they're talking about here. And in total, they're going to be able to save $2 to $3 billion versus if they're allowing each company to operate exactly as is. The deal proposal has a breakup fee of $5.8 billion, meaning that if the acquisition is scuttled in any way, Netflix still has to pay Warner Brothers Discovery those billions. Now, I'm sure that doesn't mean that Warner Brothers could walk away from this deal and then expect to get the $5.8 billion. This is talking about if Netflix, for some reason, wants to back out of the deal, or if something else comes up that prevents Netflix from being able to acquire Warner Brothers Discovery. And I'll get more on that in a little bit because that's probably one of the bigger hurdles, whether or not Netflix will ultimately buy Warner Brothers, is what regulators will actually say about the purchase. The companies revealed the acquisition early Friday, altering the course of the entertainment business. Netflix said that it expects to maintain the current operations of Warner Brothers, including theatrical releases for films, though specifics aside from the top line deal numbers remain scarce. And that may be the focus of opposition to the acquisition as the dust settles on the announcement. Netflix also made its pitch to filmmakers and creatives, writing that by uniting Netflix members' experience and global reach with Warner Brothers' renowned franchises and extensive library, the company will create greater value for talent, offering more opportunities to work with beloved intellectual property, tell new stories, and connect with a wider audience. I mean, of course, they're trying to make this sound as good as possible for people within the industry because a lot of people are concerned about this. Just for kind of a reference sake, when Disney acquired the rights to 20th Century Fox, the following year, 20th Century Fox put out 4 movies theatrically. The year before that, they put out 15 movies. And that's one of the things that people are concerned about. When you get companies like this merging together, a lot of things ultimately get cut. And that's one of the concerns right now, is that it's going to reduce the theatrical output. And that's coming at a time when theater chains are already struggling. Like, a lot of people are concerned, like, if things don't turn around, then movie theater, like the theatrical experience is going to be kind of on its way out and everything else will just be streaming. And that's something that some people are worried Netflix is trying to facilitate because they're dominating the streaming landscape. I mean, that was their entire business model. I mean, it's still very much their business model is focusing on streaming above everything else. And one of the concerns is, like, maybe they're trying to do this intentionally, trying to make it so that everything ultimately comes to just streaming services where they're kind of reigning supreme right now. Because if a lot of these other companies aren't able to they're not maintaining profitability on their streaming services, they need to be picked up by their theatrical releases as well. And if they're not able to get theatrical releases, well, then they have no choice but basically just to produce their content and then license it to Netflix. And that's pretty much going to be the future of entertainment. If this is really what's going on right now, where Netflix is going to try to deliberately kill theaters so that everyone basically just has to watch movies through them, because there's not going to be any theater chains in the future. Everything is all on streaming, and all streaming is owned by Netflix. Maybe that's a little bit conspiratorial, but I mean, it would definitely be in the interest of Netflix to try to do that. The biggest hurdle for Netflix Warner Brothers Discovery combination is widely seen as being regulatory concerns, but that is more of a headache for the streamer rather than Warner Brothers Discovery. Even before news of the exclusive talks, Bernstein analyst Lauren Yoon argued that going with Netflix's takeover bid was a win-win for the seller, given reports that the streamer has offered a $5 million breakup in case the deal cannot be completed. Warner Brothers Discovery faces little downside, at least one worth taking. He wrote, either they get acquired by Netflix, 85% cash, or they walk away with free capital to fund the next phase of growth. And more than $5 billion is enough to produce more than 20 Superman scale blockbuster films. That's not a bad outcome either. Now, what could this ultimately mean? Like, I think best case scenario is Netflix is just kind of treating Warner Brothers Discovery as is. I mean, there's still the 2 streaming platforms. They have HBO Max, they still have Netflix, but they might just share some of the resources behind the scenes, and then up front, they basically just share content on each other's platforms. I mean, I don't really see that much of a bad downside to it. And also, if they are still prioritizing stream or theatrical releases for Warner Brothers movies, best case scenario is that they're actually a little bit more nicer to theaters than what Warner Brothers Discovery has been, because a lot of times they're very quick to try to put their movies on their streaming platform after its theatrical release, maybe giving it more time in theaters. I don't expect that, but that would just be kind of wishful thinking. But if they just kind of maintained everything as is, but just behind the scenes they're sharing resources, I don't really have a problem with that. The biggest concern is, like, how is this going to change up the entertainment industry? And that's for people within the industry. And also the public is concerned about how things are going to look too, because when Disney acquired Hulu, at first they were kind of separated, and now it's basically just all rolled into one thing right now. I think people are kind of concerned that that's going to happen with this deal. Right now, though, since it's still early on, we don't know what's going to happen with this. There is talk about Netflix also going to be kind of carving up pieces of Warner Brothers Discovery, some of the more broadcast things like CNN, HGTV, some of the things that Netflix isn't necessarily concerned about, and selling that off. So maybe that's why they're also willing to pay so much for it right now, because they figured they're going to recoup some of that elsewhere when they finally do sell off those other properties that they're not really that interested in. That was one of the things people were saying was probably going to happen even from the early stages of this, when Netflix expressed interest in buying Warner Brothers Discovery, and that they're not looking for all their linear TV stuff, or their cable TV stuff. They're just looking for a lot of their intellectual properties, and it's looking like that's what they're going to get with this. So we don't know what this is going to look like, since the deal is still very early on. We just got this announcement, so we have to just wait and see when things start unfolding, assuming that regulators allow this deal to go through. But let me know what you think about this in the comment section below. Also, if you haven't already, make sure you hit that subscribe button if you want to stay up to date with the latest entertainment news. And don't forget to hit the like button and share this video out there, because it helps out with the channel. Thank you.